What's up, Sports World? It's Michelle Visa. We're live at Soho, and you're locked into Sportsqube TV. The Bills are now 2-2, and we're here to discuss yesterday's game. I got my man Mookie Hawkins and Sean Vaccaro. What's good?
Man.
Thoughts on yesterday's game?
Man, we got a lot to talk about. What is my thoughts? Seriously?
Yes.
I mean, many times I come up here and I talk about, it's not EJ's fault, X, Y, and Z. Today, yesterday was just, I really don't have anything to say in his defense that, basically he had a bad performance yesterday.
He did.
He really wasn't on target with his throws. He wasn't working his progressions. They were breaking down each play on where he was blowing the opportunities on where the ball should go than opposed to where he was throwing it. In a lot of clutch situations, he just didn't perform well. He just wasn't on top of his game at all yesterday. And, we kind of sputtered in certain areas. I still have to say that the play calling is still, I don't like the play calling, to be quite honest. But, at that point in time, it's not giving EJ an opportunity to, make the necessary plays. But in certain phases of the game, when it was called upon EJ to make those plays, he just couldn't. Right. And, it was kind of bad. It was offensively as a whole, not just saying that EJ performance. The play calling, I just don't like the play calling for EJ, but EJ didn't help himself at all yesterday either, Sean. What's your take?
Right. And it's funny, too, because this morning, the first thing I did when we spoke this morning about the game, we're normally sitting here talking about, hack at this, hack at that. And the first thing that you mentioned to me was, hey, EJ was missing throws the whole game, which I agree with you. So, but more or less, with staying with the theme with Hackett, he also called 44 passes for EJ to throw. Whether EJ can make those throws or not, he's still calling the plays. So I do have a problem with when you're ahead in a game by 10 points and your running game is really doing work out there. I don't really understand putting the ball in the air 44 times. Questionable.
Yeah, at one point in time in the game, we were up 10-zip. What was the point of, trying to throw the ball? You got C.J. Spiller, you got Fred Jackson, they're averaging 4 or 5 yards, a carry. We're inside, the 20, 3rd and 2 or whatever. Why not run the ball right there? And why are we checking down to swing passes to Fred Jackson out of the backfield on the same side that J.J. Watt's playing at? And that play was just basically a game-changing event. We're talking anywhere of that was about a 14-point swing. Yep. If you can say the Bills was going in there, the drive. Even if that pass goes incomplete, we're still in a good position to score points with a field goal. So that was taken away. So it's just bad play calling. What are we setting up? What are we setting up? We just call plays just to call plays. We're not staying in one set. We're in a spread set here, and then we're running 3 wide receivers, man going in motion. We're not setting anything up. We're just sporadically running plays, hoping that we'll get a big pop out of our players. And the offense to me seems like it's just all over the place. There's no consistency within the offense. And right now we're 0-2 because we don't have consistent. Last 2 games, offense has not been consistent. You look back at the play calls, like I said last week, where was those plays in the Miami Dolphin game? Where was those plays at again this week? We have not seen those plays that the guys seem like they're a little bit more comfortable in running against Miami that we haven't seen against San Diego, and we did not see that again yesterday against Houston there. So what is our game plan offensively on a week-to-week basis? Defensively, I don't have anything to say defensively. Right. The defense still get the necessary stops, and we're going to speak on that, later on in the portion of the show. But, basically to blame for, the loss yesterday, I definitely have to go on the offensive side. I mean, you can't, just put all the blame on EJ. He made some throws. He made some throws yesterday where receivers dropped the ball.
Sammy dropped a couple.
Yeah,
Sammy dropped a few.
Who else? Mike dropped one before he did his touchdown. So yeah. It's not all EJ's fault.
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, offensively, I mean, EJ didn't help his case, but they didn't help EJ at all by dropping those passes.
The defense is keeping the guys in the game right now. And the most alarming thing that I observed was you start out 2-0, beating two pretty good teams that we think may be playoff teams, and you have a blueprint for how to win games, and then we completely deviate from that. So I mean, that comes down to coaching.
Absolutely come down to coaching. I mean, everybody keeps saying we brought EJ on because he's a little bit mobile, he has a strong arm. EJ has not ran the ball in 2 games. When are you going to call his number? Why we couldn't do read option again on 3rd and 2? Have him keep the ball. I mean, 9 times out of 10, when you looked at those plays yesterday, if EJ keeps the ball, we have a first down. I mean, they have not pulled the trigger once again on having him run the ball. So it really doesn't make sense on why you drafted the guy if you say you're going to draft him based upon those needs, and we're not utilizing him to the best of his ability. Okay, so you do have to put blame. At the end of the day, the coaching definitely is going to take blame for that. So we're gonna hang the hat a little bit on the coaching. We're going to hang the hat a little bit on EJ there, and we're going to hang the hat on his supporting cast not being able to support him at the time when he needs their support, when he needs them to make plays. They weren't able to come up with the plays other than Mike Williams' 80-yard touchdown reception down the field. So, I'm going to blame the offense as a whole. I'm not going to put the blame towards EJ or Hackett or anything. I'm going to blame the offense as a whole yesterday, Sean.
Right. And there's no reason why, you can't tell that's truth. You can't expect the defense to play lights out every game, which they have, and you got to give them credit. Not to mention, we've had special team scores almost every game too, and big turnovers and big plays. At some point, your offense has got to do what they're paid to do and move the ball and score points. I think there was a time yesterday where we went 7 possessions in a row without doing anything, no points. That's completely unacceptable for an NFL offense. I'm sorry.
And you're throwing the ball when you're up. I mean, you got a guy like Fred Jackson only getting 7 carries yesterday. He just about had more receptions than he had carries yesterday. I mean, running back, it takes time. Running back has to develop his rhythm. He has to get into the flow of the football game. 7 carries just not going to cut it. Even CJ getting 14 and 15 carries. I mean, it's just not going to cut it for a workhorse running backs that we have. They have to find a way to keep the ball in those 2 guys' hands, because we're talking 2 1,000-yard rushers that we have on the team. They're not utilizing them to their strong suits and not playing the players to the best of their abilities on offense. And you have to point that out to coaching. You definitely have to point that out to coaching. At the end of the day, EJ Manuel throwing the ball for 44 times yesterday. And if you take away, look at his stat line. He was 21 for 44 yesterday.
Under 50% passing on the day.
Yeah.
Yikes.
21 for 44. That's about 58% completion. All right. 225 yards passing. Now, if you take away that 80-yard touchdown reception, we're looking at EJ possibly being 20 for 43 for 145 yards with 1 touchdown and 2 picks.
Right.
No bueno.
Right.
No bueno, right,
No
Visa?
bueno.
You cannot get your visa approved that way, right?
That's denied. I'm
Visa
sorry.
is definitely denied on that one. But I mean, it goes hand to hand. The offense has its spurts, but since the past 2 games, the offense has been inconsistent, and to me, that's basically the reason why we're 2-2 right now. The defense is held up to their end of the bargain. It's just offensively, we're just sputtering. The guys don't look like they're in sync. We're sporadic with the play calling. Nothing's consistent on a week-to-week basis. We don't have a signature play where we know that we could run and we know that it's going to work.
Right.
We don't have that right now. So that's the big question mark hanging over our heads. Once again, offensively, what are we doing? What are we doing? In retrospect, who's to blame? Breaking news today: EJ Manuel has just been replaced by, Kyle Orton.
Yep.
And you said it yourself.
Veteran, what do you say? EJ Manuel KO'd by KO.